Have you ever wished for, a shortcut, like a way to get your mind feeling less like it's wading through molasses and more like a supercomputer? Because some days you feel totally sharp, right? Full of confidence, ideas just flow. But then other days, it's like, someone poured syrup all over your brain. Everything just feels slow.
Ugh.
Well, today we're doing a deep dive into your sources on exactly this, how to think sharper every day.
Mm-hmm.
And this isn't about some kind of fixed, innate genius you either have or you don't. It's really about your brain's amazing ability to adapt and grow.
Absolutely. And our mission here is pretty clear. We want to unpack the really important insights from these sources. We're going beyond the usual advice to get at how you can actually make your brain healthier, sharper, more focused. We'll look at daily habits, specific exercises, showing that intelligence. It's not fixed. It really is like a muscle you can build.
Intelligence is a muscle. I like that. And the core idea behind that seems to be neuroplasticity. We hear that word a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But what does it actually mean for, us wanting to think sharper?
Right. So neuroplasticity. It's basically your brain and nervous system's amazing ability to physically change itself based on experience. And it's not really about growing tons of new neurons after you're, say, past puberty. It's more about strengthening or weakening the connections you already have, rerouting them even. It's this constant reshaping. It's how we learn, how we adapt, literally how we rewire ourselves all through life.
Okay, so it's constantly reshaping, but it's not just passive, especially for us adults, right? Like after 25, you need something specific to kick it off.
Exactly. Yeah, for real, lasting change. Your brain needs a clear signal, like, hey, this is important, pay attention. And that involves a very selective shift in your attention, plus the release of specific neurochemicals.
Okay.
So the first step, really the foundation, is knowing what you want to change. That awareness piece is key. You've got to want it. You have to bring intense focus. When your thinking brain, the prefrontal cortex, tells the rest of the system, okay, this experience, this sound, whatever it is, this is important.
Then the change has to happen.
Pretty much, yeah. The brain has to adapt. It's like a cocktail. You need alertness, that's epinephrine, and then acetylcholine, which kind of spotlights the important inputs. And you need it from two specific places in the brain. Get those three things aligned, alertness, the two acetylcholine sources, and boom, your brain is ready to rewire.
Got it. So alertness plus focused attention signals change this now, which means before we jump into brain games, we really need to have the basics sorted. Our sources kept hammering this home. Sleep, exercise, hydration. If those aren't right, you're kind of wasting your time.
You really are. The cost is huge, and it's almost immediate. Take sleep. Quality sleep isn't just about feeling less tired. It is absolutely fundamental for memory, for focus, for solving problems. Get this. The actual strengthening of those neural circuits from learning, that neuroplasticity we were just talking about, it happens during sleep.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, your brain is cleaning out waste, consolidating memories, locking in what you learned. So poor sleep, it directly causes memory issues, less focus, slower thinking. That all-nighter before a test, terrible idea for actually learning anything long-term. You need that 7 to 9 hours, quality hours.
Makes sense. And exercise, too. It feels almost too simple that moving your body makes your brain sharper.
It's incredibly powerful, though. Aerobic exercise, think jogging, sprinting, even just a good brisk walk, maybe 3-4 times a week. That's shown to be really effective. It boosts blood flow, oxygen, nutrients to the brain. But here's the really cool part. Physical activity, especially cardio, it produces BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor.
BDNF, okay.
Think of it like Miracle-Gro, but for your brain cells. It directly helps with memory, learning, focus, encourages those new connections. And some sources suggest, interestingly, that exercising early in the morning might be especially good.
Oh, why is that?
Because it ramps up those crucial neurotransmitters and growth factors before you need your brain for the day's tasks. It sort of primes the pump.
Priming the pump. Love it. Okay, sleep, exercise. What's the other basic that's easy to overlook but tanks performance?
Hydration. Simple H2O. It's amazing how quickly even mild dehydration hits your brain.
Mild. Like just feeling a bit thirsty.
Exactly. Even a 1 or 2% drop in body weight from fluid loss. It can lead straight to fatigue, that feeling of brain fog, trouble concentrating. The research suggests getting at least, say, 1.5 liters of water a day can genuinely make you faster, sharper, more able to take in information. Simple, but vital. And of course, diet is right there with them. What you eat is literally building material for your brain. Your brain is nearly 60% fat, so good fats are essential. Omega-3s, especially EPA and DHA.
Right, the ones in fish oil.
Yep, fish like salmon, anchovies, or you can get it from algae supplements if you're plant-based. They are crucial. They help reduce stress, improve focus, sharpen memory. Aiming for maybe 1.5 to 2 grams a day seems optimal based on the sources.
And it's not just fats, though. What else should be on the brain food menu?
Oh, definitely. Complex carbs are important. Whole grains, sweet potatoes, oats. They give you steady energy, avoiding those sugar spikes and crashes. Quality protein, too. Eggs, lean meats, tofu. They're the building blocks for neurotransmitters that help with memory and concentration. And don't forget antioxidants. Berries, dark chocolate, leafy greens. They protect your brain from stress and inflammation and keep things running smoothly.
Okay, foundation's covered. Now for the really fun stuff, the specific exercises and games designed to give your brain a workout. One I saw mentioned was the Schulte table. Sounds intriguing. What is it?
It's pretty straightforward but effective. It's just a grid, usually 5 by 5, with numbers 1 to 25 scattered randomly. Your job is to find and point to them or just visually locate them in order 1, 2, 3 as fast as you can.
And that helps. How?
It massively boosts your information processing speed, your peripheral vision, and your ability to selectively focus. You learn to tune out the noise and find the target quickly. Then there's the multicolor text game. You probably know it as the Stroop effect.
Oh yeah, where the word RAD is printed in blue ink.
Exactly. And you have to say the color of the ink blue, not read the word red. It forces your brain to override an automatic response. Great for strengthening cognitive flexibility, attention, even multitasking skills. It's a real mental juggling act.
Okay, that makes sense. Another one that seemed interesting, maybe a bit weird, was doing tasks blindfolded.
Yeah, it sounds odd, but it's surprisingly potent. When you take away your vision, your brain has to compensate. It relies more on spatial memory, touch, other senses. So trying simple things, writing your name, drawing a basic shape, maybe even typing on your phone blind.
Ooh, tricky.
Right. It sharpens that spatial memory and recall, forces your brain to build new maps for familiar actions, wakes up different areas. And related to that, hand coordination exercises. The sources mention one like make a peace sign with one hand.
Like a thumbs up with index finger out.
Yeah, that one. And an okay sign with the other hand. Then switch them back and forth fast. Maybe 5 times in 10 seconds.
Okay, I can picture that being clumsy at first.
Right, totally. But that clumsiness means your brain is working. It strengthens the connection between mind and body, gets both brain hemispheres talking to each other better, improves coordination, processing speed.
And speaking of hands, the simplest one might be just using your non-dominant hand more. I tried brushing my teeth left-handed.
Awkward, right.
Incredibly.
But that awkwardness is the point. It's a sign that new neural pathways are being forged. So yeah, try brushing teeth, eating, maybe even writing a little bit with your other hand. It's a super easy way to give your brain a novel workout, break routines, and encourage growth. And beyond those specific drills, don't forget strategic brain games.
Sudoku, chess.
Exactly. Games that really make you think ahead, manage information, plan strategy, Sudoku, chess, even things like complex riddles or word scrambles. Research shows these types of games genuinely improve decision-making, memory, strategic thinking, unlike, say, maybe less demanding games. There are resources, too, like Lumosity was mentioned, offering structured brain training games.
Okay, lots of practical exercises. But shifting gears a bit, what about our actual thinking habits day to day? How do we cultivate a sharper mindset overall?
Great question. It really starts with questioning things more, like Socrates did. Don't just accept stuff. Ask questions, clarify, look at different angles before you decide. It stops you from making snap, often bad, decisions based on incomplete info. And a practical way to do this, drawing from someone like Marcus Aurelius, is to try and frame things as simple if-then statements.
If-then, how does that work?
Well, instead of a vague goal, you make it concrete. Like, if I publish this specific type of video, then I expect this outcome, like 100,000 views. It forces clear logic, which leads to clear action and then clear feedback on whether your logic was right. It sharpens your understanding of how things actually work.
Interesting. And what about that voice inside our heads? Sometimes I catch myself talking things through out loud. Is that normal?
Helpful. Totally normal, and yes, often very helpful. That self-explaining, whether silent or out loud, is often a sign your mind is actively grappling with something. It helps you untangle complex problems, really deepen your understanding. But more than that, your inner voice, the constant narrative, it massively shapes your reality, your destiny even. The sources really stress training it deliberately.
How do you train your inner voice?
With conscious affirmations, things like, I am capable, I am worthy, I am learning, I am unstoppable. Your subconscious listens to repetition. What you consistently tell yourself becomes the blueprint for your identity, for how sharp and effective you believe you can be.
Right. Let's talk about focus. That feeling of brain fog where you just can't concentrate. We've all been there. What's going on?
Yeah, that mental bleh. A huge culprit, according to the sources, is simply overstimulation, especially from our digital lives. Our brains get little dopamine hits from novelty, from checking notifications, scrolling, so we start craving distraction.
So it's not just that we're distracted, it's that our brains are kind of hyped up.
Exactly. Overstimulated, constantly jumping between things, making it incredibly hard to settle into deep focus on any one thing. So the solutions revolve around calming that stimulation. Reducing screen time is obvious, maybe having digital shutdown rituals like no internet from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. Meditation is another big one. It's literally training your attention. You teach your mind to gently return to something simple, like your breath, instead of chasing every thought. That builds the focus muscle.
Focus muscle. I like that.
Yeah.
Any other tricks for focusing?
Definitely. Remember that your mental focus tends to follow your visual focus. So try this. Pick a small spot, like a corner of your screen or a dot on the wall, and just stare at it intently for 60 seconds, maybe 120. It trains sustained visual attention, which translates to mental attention. Or if you're trying to listen and learn, closing your eyes can create like a cone of auditory attention. Helps you tune out visual noise and really hear.
Cone of auditory attention.
Cool. And for deep work, structure it. Aim for focus blocks, maybe around 90 minutes. Turn off the distractions, Wi-Fi, phone notifications, everything. Expect it to feel a bit agitating at first. Your brain will want to jump away. Just gently bring your focus back, again and again.
Okay, focus blocks. But what about after the focus? Is resting important?
Hugely important, and in ways you might not expect. Non-sleep deep rest, or NSDR, is a term popping up. Think short naps, 20 to maybe 90 minutes, or even just deliberate mind wandering, letting your thoughts drift while doing something low-key, like knitting, showering, or just waiting somewhere without grabbing your phone.
Mind wandering is good. I thought we were supposed to stop that.
Deliberate mind wandering after focused effort is incredibly powerful for learning and insight. Your brain uses that downtime to connect ideas, consolidate memories, plan. It's scatter focus, and it complements deep focus. You often solve problems or get creative ideas when your mind is wandering, not when you're forcing it. And another fascinating technique is called panoramic vision or open monitoring.
Panoramic vision, like seeing everything at once.
Kind of. You consciously relax your gaze and try to take in your whole visual field, ceiling, floor, walls, without focusing on any one point. Just being aware of the whole space. It's a unique state that can actually improve your ability to focus later and reduce something called attentional blinks.
Attentional blinks.
Yeah, those tiny moments where your brain misses information because it was too focused on the previous thing. This panoramic view seems to smooth that out. And get this, one study suggested just 17 minutes of sitting quietly, eyes closed, focusing on your breath and internal body sensations, that's called interoception, can reduce those attentional blinks and boost focus in a way that seems almost permanent. It's about tuning into your internal state to better manage your external attention.
Wow, okay, that's powerful. So we're learning all this stuff, focusing better, but just taking in information isn't enough, is it?
Not at all. Application is everything. The sources are really clear. You truly learn when you use the information. One way is to actively engage with challenging ideas. Read things that oppose your viewpoint. It forces your brain to analyze critically, build flexibility, not just absorb. When you read a book, commit to the first 40-50 pages to get invested. But then, crucially, apply it.
Oh.
If you read about, say, organizing, go organize something. If it's something you can't physically do right away, like maybe jump-starting a car, then mentally rehearse it. Vividly imagine yourself going through the steps in a real situation that convinces your brain the info is useful and worth remembering.
Mental rehearsal, got it.
And fundamentally, commit to lifelong learning. See your mind as your greatest asset. Try to dedicate even just 10 minutes a day to learning something new, something that stretches you. And always ask, how does this apply to me? How does this change how I think or act?
That reflection piece seems key. What about just shaking things up? Getting out of routines?
Yes. Embrace novelty and change. It keeps your brain agile. Try simple things. Take a different route home from work. Cook a new recipe. Try a different type of workout. Novelty stimulates the brain, makes new connections, boosts creativity. Also, try to reinvent the wheel sometimes. For tasks you do routinely, ask yourself, is there a different, maybe better way to approach this? It keeps your innovative side sharp. And adopt a mindset that change is happening for you, not to you. See new situations as opportunities, be curious, challenge your old ways of doing things. Adaptability is a skill you practice.
It almost sounds too simple, but connecting with nature kept coming up in the sources too.
It's surprisingly potent. Spending time in green spaces, parks, forests, trails, it genuinely impacts cognitive function. It seems to make the brain more receptive to new information, can spark more complex thinking, and is just generally restorative. Nature seems to reset something in us. And one last really important piece, your social environment. Curate your circle. Intentionally spend time with people who challenge you intellectually, who inspire you, who are maybe smarter than you in certain areas, and who genuinely support your growth. These kinds of relationships push you to think harder, see different perspectives, question your own assumptions. They provide the right kind of environment for your mind to keep getting sharper.
Right. Wow. Okay, so we've covered a lot. From the deep science of neuroplasticity through the foundations of sleep, exercise, diet, hydration, into specific brain exercises and games, then crucial habits around questioning, self-talk, focus, learning, embracing novelty, and finally, the impact of nature in our social circles. It's quite a journey.
It really is. And the core message running through all of it. Sharper thinking isn't some magic bullet or innate gift. It really comes down to the intentional choices you make every single day to feed, challenge, and care for your brain. It's about that consistent commitment to growth.
So the final thought for everyone listening, if your mind truly is like a muscle, what kind of workout are you going to give it today? What steps will you take to build that sharper mind, achieve those goals, and really become the more impactful person you know you can be?